What I paid in taxes this year was $44,903.28. What's up, everyone? My name is Cody Engel. I don't work at Google, don't work at Facebook, don't work at Amazon or Apple or Netflix. I don't live in San Francisco, I live in Chicago. And I just got my final paycheck for the year. And I figured, why don't we just break it down, talk about how much I earned in 2019 as a staff software engineer living in Chicago. So with that, if you're excited for this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up and let's get into it. So before we begin, I just want to give some context because salaries, one, they're not very transparent, and two, I just want to kind of make sure that everyone knows roughly where I'm at, so you can compare where you're at with my own experiences, which are going to be totally different. But real quick, so my background, I have been working as a software engineer for about 7 years with formal experience and all of that. I released my first Android app back in 2011, so about 9 years of that informal experience. Anytime I've had performance reviews, I've always exceeded expectations. I've shipped code into production, written in PHP, C#, Java, Ruby, JavaScript, and Kotlin. I believe that's it. I have a good experience with SQL. My primary dialects of SQL are SQLite with Android, and then MySQL going back to the days when I was more of a full stack. But I've also worked with SQL Server as well as some Postgres. I've worked at companies kind of large and not so large. So I've worked at companies with 4 engineers. Well, sorry, not 4 engineers. 4 employees. 2 of them were the founders. 2 of them were engineers. I was one of them. As well as ones that have over 10,000 employees. Tons of engineers spanned across multiple continents, multiple time zones, all of that. I've written dozens of technical articles. I've given plenty of talks at meetups. I've given a couple talks at smaller conferences. Most of those talks are usually about 40-minute deep dives into something, usually Android related or Kotlin related. That's kind of that part. What I do today, so my day-to-day, is my primary responsibility is making sure Android apps are shipped at my company. So right now we have 2 Android apps with 4 engineers, not including myself, working on them. For that, I have weekly one-on-ones to meet with each person on the team individually, make sure that their careers are making sense, they are getting the support that they need from like a technical mentorship standpoint. They still meet with our manager for like the true career guidance, like I want a raise or I want a promotion, how do I get that? I'm not telling them that. Majority of my work ends up getting delegated out, so people come in, I look at the work that needs to be done, I make sure that the people who have the appropriate skill set or interest level are working on those things. And then along with those 2 Android apps, we also have about 7-ish internal libraries. In 2019, we had 0. So I helped make sure that we were able to get those deployed and make sure that we're moving in the right direction. I've also built bridges with local universities to help with recruiting efforts in the future for the company. And then I also will write code and I will do code reviews. So that's sort of what my day-to-day looks like. So the part that you probably wanted to get into, and thank you for listening to the context. I wanted to make sure that I could share that beforehand, just because throwing out numbers without context, then it's very confusing. Looking at my earnings, salary this year was $134,824.92. This is my base salary. Not my true base salary. I've gotten a couple raises this year. So one was like for being promoted to a staff engineer, and then another one was just a general merit raise. So a little bit higher than that, but it kind of averages out from when I wasn't making what I make and what I make today. Retro pay. So this was kind of in between, like from a raise, there's a retroactive date. So you'll usually find out about your raise after the fact. And so this is to kind of do that back pay. So that was $925. Referral bonus. So tech companies, they will strongly encourage and incentivize you to bring your friends, bring your previous coworkers. So for that, I received $6,000 between 2 referrals. So it's about $3,000 each. So bonus. So because of my level, I am eligible for bonuses. I was able to receive 4 bonuses this year, which totaled $14,575. And so the grand total of what I made before taxes this year was $156,324.92, which is pretty humbling to say out loud. Gross earnings are not actual take-home pay. They also don't take into account like all of the great things that my employer does for me. So let's first talk about taxes. So what was I taxed this year? Federal taxes were $27,356.13. Wish I could have put that into student loan payments. Medicare, $2,256.93. And then Social Security, $8,239.80, which is the cap for Social Security. Illinois, for their taxes, I paid $7,050. So the grand total of what I paid in taxes this year, or tax-like things, was $44,903.28, which is getting close to what my starting salary was when I was just starting out. All right, so the next thing to talk about would be the deductions that you have. So for that, my 401k, I contributed $10,942.67 this year. And then my Roth 401k, I contributed $2,443.50. If you're curious why I do both 401k and then the Roth version, let me know. I'd be more than happy to do like a follow-up video. I also pay for critical illness. That came out to $10.68 for the year. My health savings account, HSA, so put $675 into that. Thing to note about that is I moved over to an HSA about October of this year, coming from a PPO. So that was only like a small contribution. I am looking at maxing out the HSA each year. But anyway, so my grand total for deductions on my part were $14,071.85. My employer, so I'm gonna just do this into two buckets in terms of like their deductions, and these aren't things that were deducted from my paycheck. These are things that my employer paid on my behalf for being an employee. 401k contributions, they contributed $6,252.92, which is, I think they do, first 4% is 100%, and then 5% is half. I'm messing that up somehow. And then everything else came out to $5,566.80. In terms of what is everything else, well, my employer, they pay for dental, vision, pay for my medical premiums. They also contribute to my HSA as well. They have a telemedicine, basic accidental death and dismemberment, basic life, long-term disability, short-term disability, all of that stuff. And so everything else plus 401k, my employer contributed $11,819.72. Some other things that they're not covered on a pay stub, but I think are still worth calling out. My employer, they give us $12 a day for lunch, to order lunch in. So for that lunch stipend, kind of looking at the numbers and kind of roughly how many times I ordered lunch, that came out to about $2,820, as well as monthly transit. So they pay for my monthly CTA pass, which is about $100. It might be a little bit more now, but I have that tacked in at $1,200. Other things, which I'm not going to tabularize and figure out, but conferences are another thing that when you're working at a company, that you'll get sent to conferences. We don't have a general education budget for this at my company, so the way this broke up is this year I went to Google I/O and Android Dev Summit. They were able to pay for the ticket for Google I/O. Android Dev Summit is a free conference. And then they also paid for travel, lodging, and then the per diem, like your food expenses. It's pretty good. Like, I mean, if I was gonna just throw out a random number, I would guess that was probably like $4,000, which is awesome. I'm very grateful for that. What do all those numbers look like? So my take-home pay for the year, what was deposited into my checking account this year was $97,349.79. All right, so then my total compensation, which is just looking at the W-2, adding up my gross pay, as well as my employer deduction. So what did they contribute to me just being an employee of theirs, as well as those, the lunch and the commuter benefits, excluding the conferences. My total compensation for 2019 living in Chicago was $172,164.64, which is just a wild number to throw out there. But I think it's important to really give that context, to give, you know, both like, here's what I do, here's where I live, so Midwest in Chicago, still a expensive city considering the Midwest, but much cheaper than San Francisco. And then just kind of like breaking down like what do those earnings look like. I think it's important to be transparent about salaries, be transparent just about things in general when you can be. I'm hoping that this helped you out. I'm hoping that this gave you some sort of an idea of like what salaries look like. I'll pass it off to you. If you're a software engineer and would like to share your salary, just leave a comment down below. Just let's say, you know, roughly where are you located. If you want to say city, that's fine. If you just want to say geographic location, do that. So salary, title, and then geographic location. And I guess years of experience if you want to as well. And that's really it. If this video is helpful for you, just give it a like. If you have anyone that's curious on like what software engineers earn, feel free to share this video with them. Yeah, that's really about it.